know, he'll always be remembered. I mean, he just changed Northern California, to say the least.
Treyvon just graduated from Edison High School, a young man with tremendous potential. He even started his own company.
He was always at his best, you know, and not only that, he was always there to inspire and to show others that they could be just as good as him.
I mean, I say Trey never lost, and in reality, he lost some, but like, it never got him down.
So when I was on the sideline, I got to see all these things. And you know, one moment I always remember, he took his helmet off. He said, "Coach, I'll get this first down," you know.
I would yell and scream at him, and then he would always just smile and say, "Hey, I got you, Coach."
He's not afraid to lose. Brother wasn't scared of nothing.
Everybody loved him. You know, when he walked into the room, you can't do nothing but smile. You know, I don't even like basketball like that, but I would come to some basketball games just to watch Trey. I just watch him, not even that he playing basketball. I just loved all his antics, everything that he did, all the extra stuff that he did, man. I totally enjoyed every bit of it, man.
Trey was a magnet. I mean, anybody that came in contact with him, anybody that got introduced to him, you know, they knew that there was something special about him. He was a kid that I don't think he had an enemy. I don't think he had one person that didn't like him, you know. And he was just that type of kid.
When he was playing, all of a sudden I noticed the stands were getting more full, more people getting on the sideline. After the games, they started to bring in DJs. The kids are partying together, you know, and just hanging out. And just when you saw them, they're all together as a group, and they're all around him. They'd always be around him. You know, wherever he went, they were always around him.
Whew. I'll never forget the day that that I had Trey, that I gave birth to Trey. So I had just went in for a regular checkup. And the doctor told me, she said, well, she looked at me and she said, guess what? And I was like, what? She said, you're about to have a baby today. And I was like, are you serious? And she was like, yeah. I remember calling Trey's dad and I was like, you know, I'm about to have the baby. And I walked across the street. It was that simple. They admitted me and I had my baby. I had Trey. He was actually my only son I had at St. Joseph's Hospital. At the time, I was working at St. Joseph's Hospital too. And I remember, you know, when I had Trey, all my coworkers, everybody came down to see him. And it was just really exciting. I knew from giving birth to him, I knew he was special. He was different. He was so talented at such a young age. Anything that he did it great. Wow, like what didn't Trey know how to do? You know, that's why I say, till this day, he was the jack of all trades. I remember Trey was probably like, I don't know, maybe in the 3rd or 4th grade, and he was playing football, and we had went to a game, and some kids have walked by me, and I overheard them saying, oh, look, that's Trey. Oh, he could rap, he could rap. And I was like, Trey, I overheard some kids saying you can rap. He was like, yeah, mommy, you know, I can do it all. And I was just like, Trey. And then when I started listening to him rapping, I was like, wow, he really has skills. He could rap.
One of the victims was Treyvon Breckenridge. He played football at Edison High School in Stockton and was a student at San Joaquin Delta College. This is video of him as quarterback last fall.
You say you love me, you don't love me, why you change on me? Keep a Glock on my side, it won't change on me. Shout out, please, that's my brother, he won't fold on me. And if it come down to it, he'll blow from me. This shit tricky, seeing how these other niggas move. Gotta keep my head on the swivel, gotta play it smooth. Know I can die anything, so I ain't afraid to lose.
He loved music. Trey loved like the 80s music. He loved Michael Jackson, he loved New Edition, he loved Prince, he loved, you know, he was big on the 80s and the 90s music. And he used to always tell me, Mama, he'll play a song and he'll be like, Mama, what you know about this? And I'm like, boy, what do you know about it? You know, this is way before your time. You wasn't even thought of, you know. But it's like Trey was always here, like he was here before, you know. He just, he really loved that type of music. I would say he loved that. He loved the 80s, 90s, or the 70s, 80s, 90s music more than he loved the music of his era.
It's been a long vacation.
Mom, just waiting for your time.
You guys all know how you look in rehearsal.
This how we do it. We clean.
To the stage. So let's do it one more time from the top and let's get big.
I would just hear it one time what Trey can do, just one time, and then it was like, wow, like he can really do it, you know? There was no practice, there was no coaching, there was no, I mean, none of that, everything just came natural to Trey.
Trey was a man amongst boys to me, I mean, personality-wise. We all know that he was very talented. He's very skilled. He had the heart, and I mean, I'm telling you, the heart of a lion. This young man, if a kid could have even just the heart, they could be anything in the world they want. Trey was that. Trey was the kid that taught the coach. He taught me. And if anything, he taught me how to view the heart of a player.
One moment I always remember, he took his helmet off. He said, Coach, I'll get this first down, you know? And I was like, wow. Like he was telling the coach, I'm gonna get that first down. He broke outside, I think he spun, helmet came off, he leaned and got the first down. And I'm sure everybody that's watching this remembers that play. And it was a huge play.
Trey never gave up. You know, you can, you know, if you laughed at it, or if you told him he couldn't do it, Trey quietly would just show you he can. You know, he wouldn't argue with you. He didn't brag, boast. I mean, nothing. He just, you know, you'll turn around or look up and it's like, wow, like he's, you know, he done got better.
It was 28-0 them in the first quarter, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I just remember everybody's look. And as the score kept going, I kept going, ooh, wait. So by halftime, it's like 49 or 50 something to 7. What I was real proud about as Trey, and along with him, you know, talking, because, you know, we can do as much talking as we can, but sometimes you want to allow your guy, and Trey was that guy. And he spoke, man, and he said, look, we're probably not going to win this game, but let's go out and show them, you know, where we're from, South Stockton. The scores is what it is. Let's show them we got some fight.
Trey started playing sports, I believe, when he was 4 years old. He played for the City League of Stockton, Stribley Center. And so he played flag football, he played football. He loved sports. He was thirsty for sports. I never seen a kid that, I mean, it was just with him, sports, sports, sports. Trey played for the DYFL. He played for the Yellow Jackets. He played for the Vikings. He played for Lions Truth basketball. It's an AAU program. He played for the Runnin' Rebels. He played with Al Smith. Al Smith had a 7-on-7 team.
Trey was a part of my program, diverse. Played 7-on-7s with us. We travel 7-on-7 team, and that I had a good experience with Trey. noticed all his talents and was able to, experience just him as a person. He was a leader out there and a competitor. So, of course I was drawn to that because, you need that. You need that around other guys, to motivate other guys. So he brought that, and he brought his game as well. So, he was a very talented athlete. He definitely raised the bar as far as what I expect from another player, an athlete, just what I feel they're capable of doing or becoming. You know what I mean? He kind of pushed the bar up. So I expect Trey type of qualities out of a lot of kids now, because of the way he approached the game. So
if certain teams were down a player, or if some of the kids couldn't make it, even though Trey wasn't committed to that team, there would be several coaches that would always call and reach out like, hey, can we borrow Trey for the weekend? That's when I knew, like, okay, Trey. So it was a lot of that. That's why it seems like Trey just played for so many teams, but in actuality too, it was like a lot of, the different coaches on different leagues and stuff, they would just call and they'd want to borrow Trey. Or, hey, is Trey doing anything this weekend? We'd love, we need help, or, can we use him? And Trey never said no. Like, he just was always ready. It didn't matter what he had planned. If you call about a game, he was ready to go.
He was very eager about basketball. Every time I seen him, he had a ball, and, it was a big role model to his life. Yeah. Trey stand out in various ways. He was a leader. He was also, a big brother to a lot of our guys. He was always there, when times was hard, times was good, and he was always a guy that we can call on. He was just a champion for sure. Well, Trey, man, he always was a competitor. He loved to compete. He was always just a stand-up guy, and whatever task we put in front of him, he always got it done. And no ifs, ands, buts about it. He was a real savage, at times, but also cared for his people as well around him, and brung everybody up, to his talent, or try to get him, as close enough, as he could.
How to trade? He came in ready. That's one thing he did. He came in ready. He came in confident. But again, he's never too confident. He's enough to where he's approachable, and everybody gravitated to him, just as far as his personality and his attitude, then yeah, he was very easygoing and magnet of a kid, when it came to, when we were doing something, and always kept it at a decent level for sure.
That I can trust him. He had a lot of me in him, undersized, underrated, but he always played with a chip on his shoulder, and he wanted to show everybody, whether it be me, whether it be his teammates, whether it be the other team, that when you tell him that he can't do anything, he can do it. And so for that matter, it was easy for me to coach him because we thought alike. So we would already be on the same page. And so I was able to trust him by just him already knowing what I wanted. And so it just gave me satisfaction and a little bit of relief during the games, because I could just put my trust in him that he was going to lead us in the right direction.
It inspired the whole community, because how excitement, he made the game excitement. He didn't just play the game as in like, oh, just win. He made everybody want to look at him when he played. And it was like a play or a movie. He wanted everybody to feel his presence. He would score, shoot, and make a lot of shots, and he would celebrate and stuff like that. The reason why we call him Treyfo 3, I came up with that after a tournament in the Bay Area. And this is like kind of his breakout year. I think it was like his sophomore year. He started at freshman year, he really couldn't shoot as good like that. But then sophomore, he started lighting it up. And he hit probably 10 threes in one game. Every time he shot the ball, it was 4-3. And ever since then, and I made him an Instagram. And I was thinking the whole time, like, what should be his name? You know, everybody call him Trey, whatever. And then I was like, and I hear the videos I was playing, I was about to post for his first Instagram video or picture. It was him making threes, and I kept hearing myself in the video like 4-3, and I just made his name Trey underscore 4-3. And then ever since then, his everybody call him 4-3, Trey 4-3, Trey 4-3.
One of the coolest person you can ever be with, be around, hang out with. Just, he was one of the ones that there was no reason to not like him. You know, he was good in sports, just a funny person, cool person to be around. Like I said, he was just one of the persons where there was no reason for just anybody to not like him. He was lovable, caring. He respected you.
He was always at his best, you know, and not only that, he was always there to inspire and to show others that they could be just as good as him. I watched the best of the best practice in Aaron's gym, and it would just be so hilarious how much competition was out there and how he would push himself every day and push others not only to be their best, but to also help them get to their best. So it's crazy.
Trey put a lot of effort into the things that he do. You know, that's why it's 0 losses, you know. Trey was the best around, you know. Like, he wasn't, like, recognized by any colleges and stuff, but Trey had probably the best heart that I know. Like, he bring the dog out of anybody. He make any team that he owned better. You know, Trey's one of those kids to where, like, say we picking teams, like, at recess or something like that, and you pick Trey, like, nah, you can't pick Trey. Like, you know, that ain't fair. You know, he one of those kids, you know. Like, say, like, we playing a football game or something, he got to be all-time quarterback, because if he just quarterback for one team, it ain't going to be fair. They ain't going to lose, you know. So.
His energy made me stand out the most. His energy, competitive, like, he never wanted to lose. So, like, that's what made me keep pushing harder.
He would play in a game, or he'll have several games that day, and then he'll go home, and then he'll be in the backyard still playing, and I'll have to be like, Trey, what are you doing? Aren't you tired? You know, you should be tired. Go to bed, you know. He just stayed playing. He loved the game.
I think it was his junior year, and he was going through the quarterback situation. He was going through a quarterback situation with another QB we had on the team, and I remember around week 5, coaching staff had got together and just started to, you know, talk about if we were going to play Trey or, you know, what we were going to do. And, you know, I was one of those guys like, dude, this kid comes in the locker room, he comes in the weight room every day with his dreads put over his eyes, with his beanie on. His helmet is covering, during practice, his helmet is covering his eyes. I don't know what this kid is doing, is thinking. How we going to go with a kid like this, man? I don't know if he really love the game. And, you know, a lot of coaches just like, man, you know, we just got to give him a shot. We got to give him a shot. So Coach Hawkins was like, hey, listen to me, man. I'm ready to ride with Trey Breckenridge right now. And going into that next game, Trey made me eat my words. Like, little Trey went out there and balled out and became big Trey, like within a matter of minutes. Touchdown after touchdown. He captivated the audience. And everybody, coaches were just we're looking at each other in astonishment, like, hey, we found a guy. Like, not a football player, we found a guy. We found a leader.
And I actually coached him 1 year with the Rebels, but most of the times I was coaching against him. He was always in the game plan. We always had to find a way to stop Trey. He's one of the hardest working individuals of any sport he has ever played. He works the hardest. We could do heads or tails. He gonna try to beat you on heads and tails. Like, he was real competitive, really, really good kid. And he inspired a lot of people, man.
His last season, it was a different story. He played lights out. I mean, he connected on everything. We jump up, we take the lead. We have the lead going in the fourth quarter. He's hitting touchdown passes. He even hit one, and it was dropped. The potential one that could have won the game, and opened it wide open. So he was just a man on a mission. And I think that game really resonated with everyone in our community about how great he really was, because a lot of people witnessed how his junior year went, and then to see the maturation in his senior year and how he came on so strong and opened that game wide open. And we're 3 points away from being in the section title, which would have been our first, actually the second in the entire program, would have been my first as a head coach here at Edison High School. So he was something special.
All right, man. So I kind of wanted to start by talking about what this year has been like for you guys. I mean, I know it's been a pretty strong year to this point. A lot of big stuff has happened for this program, for you, kind of for everyone involved. What's this year been like so far?
Well, it's been fun. I mean, we started off, we won our first game, lost the next two, and then we bounced back during the season. Practices, we've been practicing hard. Team communicating on offense and on defense, and we just been having fun.
Yeah, definitely, man. That's one of those things. You guys haven't lost a game since August. I mean, what do you attribute that to? Is it just a confidence now that you guys just are going out there? You kind of have this feeling that you're gonna win. What's kind of helped you guys keep this thing going?
I feel like it's our confidence at practice. I mean, when coaches are talking, we're quiet, we're listening, we're all ears, and I feel like the coach is giving us the game plan and we're just executing it on the field.
Yeah, definitely, man. Talking about you a little bit, you were not the starter going into the year.
Yes.
Kind of came into that role because of an injury. Really kind of ran away with the job a little bit. I mean, you've done a very good job being efficient in that position. What were you trying to do when you took over the quarterback role, and kind of what's been your goal in that position?
Well, I feel like we both bring different things to the table.
Yeah.
Like, my vibe is probably different to his vibe, and like just me communicating, getting the ball to my receivers, and let them do the rest.
The Jeff Simmons, Derek Kennard, Lionel Hamilton, Jay Newsome, Lavelle Hawkins, Reuben Jackson, Tremaine Johnson, Deja Dunn, Armand Lewis, Ken Jackson, our guy just left right now. Man, we just got, it's just, Devin Tompkins. We just got, it's just a long legacy, man, of great athletes. And again, those are all athletes that went to the NFL or had a stint in the professional area, and all those guys I named, they were on good football teams, but none of them accomplished what Trey did with the championships, man. That is, a lot of people, I think, when I start bringing it up, they weren't really thinking about it until a lot of coaches, we got a coach, we call him the mayor, Coach Harris, and I told him, and he was like, man, Coach Bake, that's big, huh? And he was one of his coaches, and I said, man, that's huge. I said, you went here and you didn't do that? He said, no. I said, I didn't come close to it, and this is where a lot of great athletes from Edison, they get their start, and Trey was one of those guys, it's just, man, this is Edison, man. This is what it's about.
I love Edison High School. Edison is my family. Great coaches, great people, great staff. I have a big respect for Edison High. And even till this day, even with Trey being gone, the things they have done to continue to keep Trey's legacy alive is so appreciative.
Trey was just a natural born leader. Everybody flocked to him. He was just like a magnet. Anywhere he wanted to go, everybody else wanted to go. You know, he wanted to go to the store, everybody wanted to follow him to the store. You know, if Trey wanted to wear shorts on a rainy day, at Edison, it was a cool thing to wear shorts on a rainy day. So everybody, his impact, everybody just wanted to follow behind him. He was just a natural born leader.
Trey was a magnet. I mean, anybody that came in contact with him, anybody that got introduced to him, they knew that there was something special about him. He was a kid that I don't think he had an enemy. I don't think he had one person that didn't like him, you know, and he was just that type of kid.
Being around Trey, a lot of people gravitated towards him. The community loved him. He was a very, very special individual. You know, while he was living, he brought out numbers. You know, Friday Night Lights on the football field brought out a crowd, put on a show. During basketball, he brought the community together and he put out, you know, put on a show.
He was small but played very, very hard. But then when he became a sophomore, he became more of a leader. You know, our team was 23-2 for the year. You know, we beat everybody. One of the 2 games we lost, Trey didn't play. So with Trey, you know, we was 23-1. That's when he really started to become a leader and started to lead the guys. Guys started to rally around him. And that's when I first noticed that he was going to be a special athlete.
Just a leader on the football field. You can tell he had a presence about himself that whatever he did or either tried to do, which was, you know, he put everything into it, that a lot of kids followed him.
Just a straight leader, you know, straightforward person. We'll call a spade a spade. If he didn't like something, he would tell the players that he didn't like it or it wasn't right, and need to get back focused and back on track.
Trey stood out because of his just refusal to lose. Like, I've never been around a kid that was more competitive than him, whether it was football, basketball, video games, friends, girls, like whatever it was, like Trey was going to win. And like they say, some people are built different when it comes to that, and Trey was built different when it came to competitiveness. I couldn't tell you how many times I saw videos of him where he'd bet that he was going to win at something he probably shouldn't have won at, and the other guy's scooting across the floor, you know, or doing something silly because the dude had lost to Trey.
I mean, he just made me trust him, you know. He would do some very, very sporadic things. He was very, very spontaneous. That led on to the basketball court, obviously, where he was very, very unpredictable, but everything that he did was 100% max effort, and he just earned my trust, where if I needed something to be done on the basketball court, I knew that I could ask him for it, and if he said he was gonna get it done, he was gonna get it done by no means necessary.
I think that he was a go-getter, very passionate, and to kind of compare him to people around him, it's a little bit different because he just, to me, was just a born leader. So he always kind of stood out and stood in front of his peers.
Just passing on his refusing to lose, no excuses, you know, keeping a smile on your face no matter what. I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times we might have been down in, you know, basketball or football, and he's just like, it never fazed him. It was just, you know, we got this, coach. Come on, coach, why are you stressing? You know, like, and smile, and then they'd go out and they'd figure out a way to win. And it was, I just never been around somebody like that just, like, it was, we're gonna win.
So this is a scholarship that me and my friend Booker Guyton have started for Treyvon Breckenridge, and we have some other coaches that's involved with it also. It reads here, I'll read it to you, the Treyvon Breckenridge Memorial Scholarship, sports scholarship is $1,000. So it's gonna go out to a male or female senior every year from Medicine High School in Trey's memory. You know, we are going to do the best we can to keep his name alive. The Treyvon Breckenridge Memorial Scholarship. Thank you.
Me and Coach Harris got together and we put this together, and this is just to honor him and to have his lifetime accomplishments on the basketball court and the football field be enshrined into a scholarship. So you have to be a two-sport player. You have to be an athlete with a 2.5 or better in good standing. And, you got to be a Trey Breckenridge. And it's, whether you're a male or female, you have an opportunity to win this scholarship. But this is to honor him, to let people know what Trey meant to us. He's also on our wall, a wall of fame out there on the wall of the basketball building. And it's just to let people know what he meant to Edison High School, what he meant to our community.
Stockton teen has gotten creative in order to keep busy during the pandemic. 17-year-old Treyvon Breckenridge recently started his own business and says this is just the beginning. Fox 40 photojournalist Melissa Deverell shares his story.
Shorty said she need me, and I ain't never needed her, not for anything, and it don't make sense to me. Well, what inspired me really was my mom. We were just sitting in the house, and my mom had left, and she had told me, she yelled at me. She said, "Trey, clean the garbage can." And I looked at her away like, clean the garbage can? Like, is it supposed to be dirty? She said, "Trey, I just thought of an idea. Why don't you start your own business of just cleaning garbage cans, and just keep yourself active?" And I'm like, "I don't mind." I'm just saving up to build up my business. So, like, when I go off to college in the long run, I have something to leave my little brothers and them so they can keep the business going on. Another one bites the dust. I was waiting for my senior year to come so I can go to prom, but then this pandemic had happened. I wasn't able to go to prom, wasn't able to play in both my all-star games, basketball and football. I just been pushing it with this business to keep me active and motivated. Go to Delta, get my AA, and transfer to a Division I school. For college right now, it's hard because we're not on the field, we're not all with each other. But the Zoom meeting, we're on the Zoom meetings faithfully. We're talking, communicating, but it's just not the same. And not being on the field, not getting in that work. But I just hope it's over soon. Steady trying to win over you. I have 10 brothers, including me, and one sister. So I feel like with all of us, I know we can do some things. Thank you. But whatever you believe in, push it. Don't let nobody tell you can't do nothing.
Amen to that. Good for you. That was Fox 40 photojournalist Melissa Deverell with that story. Trey says he is keeping his prices low in order to help the elderly who might be struggling right now, and you can learn more about his business. We have information on our website right now, fox40.com.
I mean, smiling, cleaning nasty garbage cans? Who does that, right? Trey did something that nobody wants to do. I mean, who wants to clean garbage cans, right? I mean, sometimes the garbage cans was full of maggots, but guess what? Trey was proud. He was proud. I would see him out there sometimes and he'd just be singing and humming and, he was proud. It didn't bother him. Like he always said to me, "Mama, somebody's got to do it." And I used to just laugh, But the day that that we talked about the whole garbage can cleaning business, it was crazy because I have OCD and I'm always thinking of things that needs to be cleaned, okay? So I remember I went outside and I just noticed the garbage cans and, I went in the house and I was like, "Trey, do you want to start a business?" It was just that simple. And it was always Trey because Trey was my kid that would do anything. And he was a mama's boy. Trey could never tell me no. And I remember I was just like, "Trey, you want to clean garbage cans?" And I'll never forget, he looked at me and he laughed. He said, "Mom, ain't the garbage can supposed to be dirty?" So we both laughed and I was like, "Do you want to? We can start a business." I said, "I just want you to do something positive and just to keep busy," because it was during the pandemic. Yeah, I was like, it was that simple. He was like, "Okay." And I said, "So you'll clean garbage cans?" And he was like, "Yeah." It was like, it was nothing to him. I was like, "Okay." And I couldn't believe it because I remember I had called, my sister and I was like, "Can you create a little flyer, just basically saying, okay, we're going to be doing this." And so she was like, yeah, she did it within 20 minutes. I remember I posted it on Facebook, on social media, and then I went to sleep. I took a nap. I remember when I woke up, I couldn't believe, I had logged on Facebook, I couldn't believe how that post went viral that fast. It was just unbelievable. It was all over. I mean, it was people all over the world. Michigan, Hawaii, I mean, everywhere reaching out, wanting to talk to Trey, wanting to meet Trey. I mean, you name it. So yeah, and Trey couldn't believe it either. Like we laughed. We were like, oh my gosh, wow. Like who would have thought that cleaning garbage cans would have got so much attention, right? I had people calling me all the time, you know, like, wow, you know, he was only 17 and he started this business and, you know, he's such a role model and you know, he's inspiring so many that it's, you know, you can do anything. You know, it's all in your heart and just doing it. And I always say you have to have the heart to do things, because if Trey didn't have the heart to clean garbage cans, it wouldn't have been done. It doesn't matter what you do in life, you have to have the heart. You have to have the passion. Not that he had a passion to clean garbage cans, but it's your heart. Your heart is everything, okay? No matter what you do in life, you gotta have the heart. You know, so many people respected him for it because, you know, it's like, wow, I wouldn't even have done it. You know, and then, you know, it was during the pandemic and, you know, Trey wanted to help the elderly out. So the cost was very low. I want to say it was $5 a can. He just wanted to be a help, a blessing to others. And in the mix of all that, all the customers and everybody was a blessing to him. They were blessing him with money. He would go out to service or clean garbage cans, and it would be people there like, oh, we just wanted to meet you.
Pandemic, it came through and kind of wiped this community out, and you know, and I look up at the TV, and you know, he's on TV washing trash cans, and I'm sitting there going, what the hell is this kid doing? And he's being interviewed about his business that he started, and his business was washing trash cans. And this is the Trey that everybody just came to love. He took pleasure in doing stuff that nobody else wanted to do, and you know, and so he made that a job. He made that a career that he was going to make money doing it, and he was going to help his brothers out, and he was going to, you know, feed his family. And no one but Trey could do that, you know, and to take something as minuscule as cleaning garbage cans and going around, and I could just see, and you hear the stories of people who he met. They would get infectious by him because he would just come up and let them know, hey, I'm here to wash your garbage cans, to clean your garbage cans. And that was him. And he turned a business that to most of us we would never do into something that, you know, it was very profitable for him while he was living, and to the point where he even was able to leave it to his brothers.
Was Treyvon Breckenridge. He played football at Edison High School in Stockton and was a student at San Joaquin Delta College. This is video of him as quarterback last fall at Edison. We spoke with people who knew him today, including Stockton Mayor Michael Tubbs.
It's just a reminder that life is so precious, that life is so short, that our young people are our greatest assets. And I know Trey personally. I've known him for years since he was in middle school. He's been a student of mine. I've painted trash cans with him in South Stockton. It's been amazing to watch him grow. To be such a great athlete, but even better person in a young man. So we lost one of our best and brightest.
It just showed, as everybody knows, the tragic, you know, story of what happened to him. You see that not only did Edison feel some kind of way about him and the much love, but you see, like, for instance, the whole Stockton came together. And I remember when that happened, I was in Smart Foods, and there were some kids that were at Lincoln, and they were going to, like, I don't know, like to a trip in Arizona to a football camp. And those kids knew me from football, but not like they weren't close to me. And the embrace that I got from those kids and the emotion that I got for them, everybody was teared up. And you can just tell and you can see it that whatever Trey, and it's almost like, listen to Deion Sanders talk, and he said, whatever God gave Jerry Rice and Michael Irvin, he gave them it. And whatever the Lord, and I believe they gave Trey it was that, because the love that Trey got for when that tragic accident happened, just the pour and the love for it wasn't just Edison, it was everybody in Stockton loved that kid. And I think that just showed, how much he gave to Stockton. It didn't seem like it at the time, but when somebody goes like that and then you see all the love.
I was at home and I had just got back from my grandma's house, and I got a call. Well, no, I didn't get a call. I'm sorry. My dad told me he seen it on Facebook. Like it hit Facebook instantly, cause Trey knew a lot of people, so it was like it wasn't hard for it to get out. But it hit Facebook, and my dad came upstairs crying. I'm like, Dad, why you crying? Why you crying? What's going on? And he told me, and when he told me, I just broke down. I'm like, he said, Trey's gone. I'm like, what you mean gone? Like he left? Like he went out of state? He said, no, son, he's gone. I'm like, damn, and I just dropped and I cried. I don't really cry like that. Like a lot of people they know me to be a happy person. I don't cry. So when I cried, I'm just like, dang. And then so I told him like, Dad, we gotta go to the crash site. Like, everybody was there. So then we went to the crash site. First person I saw was his brother, Terrion. And I just gave him a big hug. And I gave him a hug. I'm like, brother, it's okay, I got you. And then I seen Raleigh, our boy. And he just gave me a hug and we was crying. I'm like it was crazy. And then I seen his mom, like I couldn't say nothing to, Mama Kim, cause she was sitting there and I just wanted her to let, calm down. So I couldn't say nothing to her until, afterwards. But man, it was crazy, cause Trey had a lot of love, like, and I knew, cause at that crash site, it was so many people there. There was so many people, and it was people that, he had an impact on, and I knew, like, cause I was around Trey, so it was like I knew, I'm not gonna say I knew everybody who was in and out of his life, but I pretty much seen, the people he dealt with on a daily, and yeah, but it was tragic though. That was crazy.
I remember going into that off season, and when the accident happened, Roscoe called me right after it happened, man. And I'll never forget the way I felt. You know what I'm saying? Roscoe said, "Hey, you heard about Trey?" And I was like, "Nah, like what college Trey signed with?" And like, "Nah, Trey gone, team." And I was like, "Roscoe, gone where?" Like, "No, he gone, bro, off this earth." And I was like, "Roscoe, man, stop, get off my phone playing with me, man." He's like, "Tim, I'm not lying, bro. Trey just died." And I was like, "Huh?" And it was crazy because the day before we had practice, Trey came out there and the quarterback threw a couple bad balls, and I said, "Hey, Trey, what you would have done in that moment?" He was like, "Oh, coach, you already know what it is. You know what I do." You know what I'm saying? I love you, baby. It was just different, man. He was a different dude.
I remember when the accident happened, a lot of people was asking why he was getting so much praise, as a young kid, or whatever the case may be. Why I see all in the news and the newspapers and stuff. Why are they talking about Trey and not the other kids? We feel for the other kids too, but Trey had a big impact. He was a two-sport athlete, all-star. You know what I mean? He was like the little Kobe Bryant of Stockton. Real talk. So, it's sad to see him go.
And I never forget how I felt, man, when I got that call from Roscoe that next day, man. It might have been that evening. Roscoe called me. I was over at the park training some kids. We didn't even have the gym stuff going yet. And Roscoe told me that, man, my heart felt in my stomach. And I called LaVille, I called Booker, I called, "Hey, man, what's going on?" And it was like, Cass was just crying. Like, "Hey, team, man, Trey gone." And I'm like, hold on, man, what happened? Like, and I think for me as a coach, I felt like, what could we have done differently, right? See, when the season is here, everything is good. But when that off season come around, that's where we have our biggest problems with kids, right? Because it's a dead period. It's a period where kids have so much free time. And they say, man, I don't mind, all that free time is the devil's playground, right? And I was like, hey, dude, how can we keep our kids out of trouble? How can we keep our kids out of messing? Trey wasn't a trouble kid at all. Trey wasn't gang banging and doing none of this craziness. And so all the things that happened after Trey died, it hurt my heart to see what was going on with Trey 4-3, because that's not what Trey stood for, right? Trey was a different crack. Trey 4-3 meant, like, when I shoot this ball, Trey for the 3. Y'all know what it is. This is a knockdown. I ain't even talk about basketball. I think he finished his last game against Desert Christian with 50 points. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude was different, bro. And Trey was like, you know, we hear this cliche like, oh, whatever you put your mind to, you can do it or you can achieve it. But bro was a living embodiment of that. Like, hey, coach, I can do whatever I want to do. And not in the light of like, can't nobody tell me nothing. No, it's like, if I'm going to go for 80 tonight, I'm going for 80 tonight because that's what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can be as great as I want to be, Tim. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, no, Trey, I'm a believer, bro. I'm a fan. You know what I'm saying? I'm a fan. And, you know, man, I'm just here, man, to pay my respects, to honor Trey, to honor the family, man, to keep the legacy going. His mom is doing an amazing job with Trey 4-3, man, with the clothing brand, and just allowing people to really know who Trey was and what he stood for. And Trey wasn't about no foolishness, man, out here in the streets. It was like, hey, man, I know my education is important. I know playing ball is important. So this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to change what's going on in my community, what's going on in my family. I want things to be better. And that's what Trey did. That's how he lived his life. And it's like, you know, at least from this documentary, man, I would love for these young kids to see that, right? Like, don't allow Trey to have died in vain and what he did to go in vain. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was making moves before we even, you know, could imagine or even thought of. Trey was already making noise. The movement was already becoming real. You had grown going to the game to see Trey perform. He was that next dude, you know what I'm saying? And so I remember when he told me, hey, coach, I'm gonna go to Delta. It was like, hey, Delta just gained another fan because we're gonna be at the games, basketball and football. You know what I'm saying? That's how dope dude was, you know. And so it you know, it definitely hurts that he's gone. But man, listen to me, man. He blessed his earth.
The day I found out about Trey, I had received a text from some of my young people, and I had called his mom, Miss Kim, who was already there at the scene, and you know, they answered and they said, you know, Trey had been in a terrible accident, just come to Tracy, and I remember getting in my car, driving to Tracy, and I was asking, you know, where do I go? Where do I go? And all they said was, you can't miss it. Just come down, you know, come down the scene and come to Tracy Boulevard, and you will see us there. That day was really hard for me, as I know it was hard for many other people, especially his mother and his brothers, who something just so unexpected happened. When I received the news, I was at home with my family. It was a Friday evening, and I remember getting really mad because I had saw someone post, "Rest in peace, Trey," and I had messaged them and told them to take it down. That was not okay for them to post, because I didn't want to believe it at the time. I remember just being so mad that was the news that I heard, and I was just immediate tears that night when I had found out. Didn't want to believe it, and I had to just ran to my car and remember crying the entire time. while driving to this scene. And yeah, I mean, just that night was something you never want to see. And unfortunately, I've dealt with losing a lot of young people, but this one was just different.
Yeah, so the car accident, you know, I believe that, you know, not just Trey, but the other young man, the other two young ladies, they're also hurting in the community. One of the young ladies, I know the families, they're from the Bay Area, I'm from San Francisco, so I know the family that's from San Francisco, their daughter moved out at this Patterson, and I mean, it hurt everybody. I mean, it wasn't just Trey, it was, you know, the young man, the two young ladies, and in Trey's situation, I just feel that God needed to use him. God wanted to bring him up and have him do his work. There's no other explanations for it. I mean, there's a video of Trey saying, you know, I know I'm going to heaven.
If I die right now, I know I'm going to heaven. What I do? Nothing. So I know I'm going to heaven. I don't know about y'all. I can't speak for y'all, but I can speak for myself. I just know I'm going to heaven. Hallelujah. I just know I am.
I always told Trey, and I always told all of my kids, it was a thing that I always do, and I still do till this day. Whenever I drop them off from school or wherever, I always tell them, always put God first, no matter what you do. Whatever choices you make, always put God first. You can't go wrong with that. Every situation in life, you know, you have to learn how to assess something within seconds. Because your choices in life will not only destroy your life, but it will also destroy your loved one's life or the ones you leave behind. So choices are very, very important.
You know, it only takes a second to make a bad choice, bad decision, you know, and he made one and it ended up costing him his life, but just the impact that he left on everybody, I think is a huge positive. But, you know, I think he would have been even more powerful if he was still here, you know, because he was on to becoming something great. And I was kind of, you know, looking forward to seeing where that would take him, because he had a lot of options going on, so. But for most people, I hope they learn from, you know, the mistake that he made and you know, and just choose their choices wisely, and also try to leave an impact so that people can be talking about you when you leave here. You know, because Trey, if he wasn't, you know, if he wasn't a positive, good kid, I mean, we wouldn't be sitting here talking about him right now. We would be, you know, people wouldn't be celebrating him.
I think life choices are something that that are not mentioned enough, because it's your future, whether you like it or not. You know, and one thing that I realized on making choices is that what are you making your choices based upon? You know, my choices, when I was young, they were really messed up because I didn't have no guidance. So my choices were based on my anger. A lot of my choices that I made was because I was angry, and that right there, it just took me into a whole nother life that I didn't know, and that it was impossible to get out of, you know? If I could tell you guys anything, is be careful who makes your choices, even if it's you. And not just who makes your choices, but what makes your choices. Choose wisely. Choose wisely, you know, because life is taken for granted. You know, we think, you know what, I'm living a fast life and I might die soon, I might not. Those are things that, you know, are gonna mold your life. Every choice you make, it molds you. 1 minute you can be here, 1 minute you can be there. And that's what life choices do. They change your life.
Important these days to be focused on sports instead of the streets. See, nowadays in high school, you can get paid to play sports. When I was playing, you couldn't get nothing. If you got caught getting some money or something, you were ineligible. Nowadays, they got the image and likeness deals. You can make $200,000-300,000 real quick, you know, if you're a good athlete. So it's important, you know, to separate yourself from the streets. I mean, think about it. In the streets, you're never gonna win. You're never gonna win. You're never gonna win. You're never gonna learn. You're never gonna do anything. It's only two things in the streets: jail or hell. I don't know no one that's won in the streets. So me personally, if I could do it all over again, I wouldn't do nothing but play sports. I would stay in the gym. Like, so all y'all youngsters out there that's in between sports, straddling the line, and in the streets, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, man. Streets, it ain't worth it. It's nothing in them streets. Who won in the streets? Tell me one person that won in the streets in Stockton. I don't know nobody. Yeah, they might have got money, but they did time. Family died, friends died behind garbage when it all could have been avoided if they would just stay in the gym. Stay in the gym. Stay out the streets. That's the realest thing I can tell you. I mean, it's easy. You have the internet. If you're good, you're going to be seen. It don't matter where you go. If you got it, you're going to be revealed. I mean, stay out the streets, man. It's not worth it.
Choices. We all make them. You have to make choices in life, whether good or bad. And sometimes in life, you know, that choice, it can determine a lot of situations. It can either be a lot of love, a lot of happiness, or it can also turn into tragedy and a lot of heartache. Trey, as we all know, got into a car and it took him and 3 other precious kids from us. Choices is hard. I mean, I made some wrong choices in life, man. But you try to, I'll say this, when I tell my kids at the school, I say, choices is like this, it's a straight line. I said, you got the good side and you're the bad side. When you walk in that straight line and you're walking this line, it's easy to go to the bad side. It's like how we say choices. We want to get in shape. I ate that Big Mac. I shouldn't have done that. That's easy. Well, it's hard to go over here because, do I want to eat the carrots? Oh, that's tough. Do I got to drink that water? That's tough. It's choice. There's choices everywhere, man. There was choice for me to get up this morning. I was tired. I got up. And like I said, those are 2 choices that I think that everybody would want them to go back and say, man, don't get into that car. Well, we don't know. You know, that was, you know, it's difficult.
Always remember what your parents told you. You won't have no choices. Because it's one thing, man, that I know. I mean, I was out here in the gang life, but I raised all my kids right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, I chose to go a different path, but I'm not going to let them do it. You know what I mean? And I was, you know, that's what I teach them and taught them. And like I say, you see all these youngsters out here, man. That's what I'm out here to do that now. Teaching it. We're going to be out here every Friday. You know what I'm saying? That man left not only in kids or his fans, I mean, just adult people, man. He left a serious message, man. Serious.
Yeah.
If you look at his picture, you can't do nothing but smile. Sure. That's it. You can't do nothing but smile, man. You know, every time you see a picture of him, man, because he smiled. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he left basically what I would tell the kids, man, you know what I'm saying? Truly, you got good parents. Some of you got bad, you know. Listen to your parents, man. You got some bad ones that even tell them what to do good. You know what I'm saying? Even though they didn't make it, they're not gonna let the kids go through it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, always listen to your parents. Always be in a situation where you have control. Where if you don't think you should get in that car, you know, be around people where you can tell them, hey, you know, could you stop or could you slow down? You know, be with people that you can communicate with. And these kids today, really, they need to have something to do, which Trey always had something to do, but like I say, it's tragedy to the epidemic. You know, finding things to do, man, and it could happen to any little kid. Actually feel bad for the person that was driving that car because he was a good kid too. He just made a bad choice.
Prior to making any choice, just always have it in your mind that you're going to be willing to deal with whatever outcome is on the other end of your choice. And as long as you have that mentality, whether your choice brings light or your choice brings darkness, with that mentality, you'll be able to navigate whatever realm you land in. Because just because you land in the darkness don't mean you can't navigate that. You know, the universe was once layered in triple blackness, but out of that universe came a light that created the entire universe we see. Planets, stars, people, animals, trees, all living things. And so, even if your choice lands you in the darkness, just keep fighting. You can pull something magnificent out of that darkness. And if your choice lands you in the light, you know, don't get complacent because, you know, light can burn you. You can melt in the light if it's too hot. And if you just stay there complacent in that one spot, you know, happy with your decision and just content, then, you know, growth stops. And so just always have a balance. Always be looking to create more, to grow more.
You know, I'm from here. I'm from Sierra Vista, so I'm from the south side of town, so I understand the way and everything that these kids are going through, right? I understand every bit of it, but I was one of those kids that I'm not gonna let my circumstances dictate my life. And so whenever I'm talking to not just Trey, to these kids, like, yes, I talk straightforward. You know, I'll be straightforward with my conversation, but I've always tried to be honest with them about the choices that you make, the company that you keep, you know? Like, it's so like remedial, where it's like, if you're hanging with 4 broke people, you're gonna be the 5th one, you know? And so my thing is, I told Trey this, I told all our kids this, and I probably get on their nerves, you know? But I'm like, dude, sacrifice is everything. Like you have to sacrifice something right now to get something later, you know? And I always try to tell them my story because I don't want to tell them something that I read out of a book. I only can tell you what I've experienced, you know? We all got family members that's crazy. We all got family members that's going to jail, in and out of jail. We all got people that smoking weed and everything around us and all that stuff, right? But it comes down to you making a choice and said, you know what, I'm not gonna do that. Like, yeah, we cool, what's up, baby, what's happening? But I'm not gonna indulge in what you got going on. You know, and I always tell them, you need to hang around guys that's doing what you're doing. Like, I can't hang around with the weed smoker, man. Like, the weed smoker gonna smoke weed and he gonna lay up and eat chips and candy. I gotta go work out. So how does that even work? You know, so I try to do my best to let them kids know the importance of just making the right decision, man, because one wrong move can determine the rest of your life. You know, somebody got a gun in the car and did a drive-by, anything like that. He didn't tell you about it, but you in the car. And guess what? When them police put that car over, you guys was all together. So guess what? Everyone goes down. And so just trying to get these kids to kind of think more, you know, because life is short, man. Life is short. And I know these kids, they 15, 16, and 17 feeling like they're invisible, but you're not. You know, kids are dying 15, 16, 17. Like, that stuff wasn't even happening when I was coming around. And so I be wanting these guys to understand, like, dude, like you, like, them was your friends that's dying. How is that tight? And sometimes, you know, I crack jokes and I say, man, these kids believe in magic or something. Like, I swear, I feel like they think this is Call of Duty, like, I'm gonna die, then I'm gonna come back, you know? And like, that's not real.
As time goes on, it does get better. But like I said, he's always gonna be remembered here, man. That was a great, unique, outstanding, and man, I love that kid. Everybody did.
He not afraid to lose. Brother wasn't scared of nothing.